better, Holmes.
Yes. I don't know which I enjoy more, my dear Watson. Our little evening rambles or the agreeable homecoming when they're over. Good fire, the lamp lit, our slippers waiting. Bliss, Watson, bliss. It makes me feel festive. I might even give you a tune.
Huh? You're not going to play that fiddle.
Fiddle? Are you referring to my Stradivarius?
Come in. Ah, Mrs. Hudson, you make us very comfortable.
It's very civil of you to say so, Dr. Watson, I'm sure. Mr. Holmes has a visitor to see you. Shall I show her up?
A lady?
Oh, a real one, sir. Lady Eva Brackwell.
Please show her up at once, Mrs. Hudson.
Very well, sir.
Ah, well, that spared me your fiddle recital, at any rate.
Do you know her, Watson?
Lady Eva Brackwell. Name's familiar. Ah, I know. A debutante. Going to marry...
Lady Eva Brackwell, sir.
How do you do, Lady Eva?
Mr. Holmes.
Allow me to present my friend and associate, Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
How do you do? Will you take the basket chair?
Thank you. Mr. Holmes, I must apologize for calling here unannounced. The matter is too urgent for any delay. The fact is that I am engaged to be married to the Earl of Dovercourt in a fortnight's time.
Oh, felicitations.
The 18th, to be exact. Unfortunately...
Yes?
There are some letters. Before I met my future husband, I wrote some letters to a young man, a country squire. Looking back, I realized they were imprudent.
I see. Do I understand that the letters are now in the Earl of Dovercourt's possession?
Oh, no, heaven forbid. But they may soon be.
How so?
Yesterday I had a visit from a Mr. Milverton.
Milverton?
You know him?
Oh, yes, I know Mr. Charles Augustus Milverton. And he knows me.
Yes, now I remember. I told him I should visit you. He smiled. That horrible smile.
Tell me, how much is he asking for the return of your letters?
Then you've seen him already?
No. But from what you've told me of the nature of the letters, coupled with your forthcoming marriage and a visit from Milverton, there is only one conclusion to be drawn.
Mr. Holmes, how he gained possession of them he wouldn't tell me. But he has them. He showed me one. His own words were, if the money is not paid on the 14th, there will certainly be no marriage on the 18th.
But I must ask you again, how much?
£7,000.
£7,000? You haven't paid him?
No.
What did you tell Milverton?
I said I must have time. I begged him not to come to my father's again. He said he would be prepared to deal through an intermediary, and for no reason at all, I suddenly thought of your name.
You're sure you cannot confide in your future husband?
Absolutely. He has strong views. Mr. Holmes, I had to see you this evening at all costs, because Milverton will be coming here, and you would have been unprepared.
Lady Eva, it is painful for me to have to say this, but from my knowledge of Milverton and his habits, I warn you that there may be no alternative to paying him.
But I can't. I couldn't hope to raise more than half at the most.
Even that might be sufficient, for the moment. Our immediate purpose must be to ensure that nothing arises to prevent the marriage taking place. Then we shall have time to see what can be done next.
Holmes, you're surely not going to... It's blackmail.
Believe me, Watson, knuckling under to a blackmailer is not my preference. But if we refuse him now, we lose all. Lady Eva, you may leave the matter with me. Meanwhile, pray proceed with your wedding arrangements as though nothing were amiss.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Your name came to me like an inspiration.
If Milverton gets in touch with you again, tell him you will only deal through me.
Very well. Good evening, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson.
Good evening, dear lady. Allow me. Holmes, this Milverton...
The worst man in London. When you stand before the serpents in the zoo and see the slithery, gliding, venomous creatures, don't you feel a creeping, shrinking sensation? I've had to do with 50 murderers in my career, but the worst of them never gave me the repulsion I have for this fellow.
But who is he?
He is the king of all the blackmailers. Heaven help the man, and still more the woman, whose secret and reputation come into Milverton's power. With a smiling face and a heart of marble, he'll squeeze and squeeze until he's drained them dry.
How does he work?
He allows it to be known that he's prepared to pay very high sums for letters which will compromise people of wealth or position. He finds plenty of takers, valets, maids, and those artful gentlemen who won the affection of trusting women.
And does he pay well?
Oh, yes. Extremely. I happen to know that he once paid a footman £700 for a note just 2 lines in length. It brought the ruin of a noble family. Everything of that kind that's in the market goes to Milverton eventually. I tell you, Watson, there are hundreds, literally hundreds in this city who would turn white if you mentioned his name to them. None of them knows just when he might put the grip on them. He'll hold a card back for years in order to play it at the moment when the stakes are highest.
But surely the police can do something about him.
Evidence, Watson, evidence. Where is the woman who would risk her own ruin just to get him a few months in prison? He's cunning. A genius in his way. He never blackmails an innocent person. The day he makes that mistake, they'll have him.
I see. Then what...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Mrs. Hudson?
Mr. Milverton, Mr. Holmes.
Already?
I'll see him at once.
Yes, sir. This way, please, sir. Mr. Milverton.
Well, Mr. Holmes?
Well, Milverton?
This gentleman.
Dr. Watson is my friend and partner.
Oh, I was merely thinking of your client's interests. The matter is so very delicate.
Dr. Watson has already heard the particulars.
So very, very delicate. But shall we proceed to business? I understand you're acting for Lady Eva.
I am.
And has she empowered you to accept my terms?
And the alternative?
My dear sir, it is painful to me to discuss it.
My client will do what I advise.
Which is?
To tell her future husband the whole story and trust to his generosity.
Evidently you don't know the Earl. The letters are sprightly, very sprightly. The lady was a charming correspondent. But I'm sure the Earl of Dovercourt wouldn't appreciate that. Still, since you think it is in your client's best interest that the letters should be placed in the Earl's hands, then I quite agree. It would be foolish to pay so much money to get them back.
She has no alternative. Even £2,000 would be a great drain on her resources.
You're quite right, of course, Mr. Holmes. She hasn't much money. At the same time, you must admit that the occasion of a lady's marriage is a very suitable moment for her friends and relatives to make some little effort on her behalf.
Really?
Imagine, Doctor. Even now they may be in difficulties over the choice of a suitable wedding present. Let me assure them that this little bundle of letters would give her more joy than all the candelabra and butter dishes in London.
It's out of the question, Milverton.
Oh, dear me, how unfortunate. You know, I can't help feeling that ladies in such a situation ought to make some little effort.
The money simply cannot be found. Surely it's better for you to take the 2,000 she can offer. If you ruin her instead, you get nothing.
Ah, now there you make a mistake. I have 8 or 10 other cases, shall we say, maturing. It only needs to be known that I have made a severe example of Lady Eva. I should find the others much more open to reason. And now, gentlemen, I have 1 or 2 more interviews this evening, so if you'll excuse me. You have until the 14th, Mr. Holmes.
No, you don't.
No, Watson, let him go.
You know where to find me. Appledore Towers, Hampstead. Good evening, gentlemen.
You should have let me crack his skull.
It would have done us no good. You can be sure those letters are safe somewhere, with arrangements made for their delivery into the wrong hands if anything happened to him.
I suppose so. But, Holmes, what's to be done?
I don't know. I don't know at all. Are you going out, my dear Watson?
Out? No, I wasn't.
As you pass the tobacconist, you might tell him to send me up a pound of the strongest shag. This is more than any 3-pipe problem. But the answer will come. Let us hope it doesn't take too long, that's all.
Great heavens, Holmes. I wonder you don't suffocate.
I suppose it is rather thick, now you mention it.
You must have smoked the whole blessed tin. What's all this get-up? And a moustache? You supposed to be some sort of workman?
She was as beautiful as a butterfly and a parade as a queen was a pretty little Polly Perkins of the Paddington Green. Now,
Holmes.
name a waistcoat, Governor, rising young plumber, and a bachelor still.
And for whose benefit is all this?
For the housemaid at Appledore Towers, Hampstead.
Milverton's place.
I only hope she's susceptible to a little charm.
Charm? You, Holmes.
You'd hardly call me a marrying man, would you?
I would not.
Still, needs must when the devil drives. And Milverton is all the devil I need to spur me on. Let us hope that late though the hour is, I may be able to persuade the young lady to make an assignation with me on Hampstead Heath in the not-too-distant future.
Only a few hours ago you were carrying on about unscrupulous men winning the affections of trusting women.
Now, before you begin lecturing me about my scruples, let me assure you that it is a most necessary step. You and I are going to burgle Milverton's house, and there's no time to lose in discovering how and when to do so. Desperate situations call for desperate measures. So, Watson, wish me luck with my courting.
Oh, very well. But that poor girl...
Poor me, I rather fancy. So far, Watson, so good. This is Milverton's study. Turn up the lamp a little.
Better take care, Holmes.
It's all right. He'll be at dinner at the other end of the house. Always is at this time, so my little informant assures me.
Oh, you know, Holmes, it really is a bit thick.
My dear Watson, I've walked out with her evening after evening. I've talked with her. Dear, those talks.
Serve you right. And now you're going to drop her like a hot brick, I suppose.
She's told me all I need to know. She's got the watchdog under lock and key on the off chance that I might be paying her one of my evening visits. Faithful little Aggie. Perhaps a box of handkerchiefs through the post, wouldn't you say?
I'd say you were an out-and-out bounder.
And then you'll rejoice to know that her affections are noticeably prejudiced towards my rival, the butcher's boy. I fancy the young lady will survive the disappointment.
Oh, well. And we'd better get on. Here's the tool bag.
You know, I've always thought I'd have made a thoroughly efficient criminal. Isn't it a beauty? A first-class, up-to-date burgling outfit. Nickel-plated jemmy, diamond-tipped glass cutter, skeleton keys. Every modern improvement called for by the march of civilization. Now, Watson, just for safety's sake, you stand by the door and listen. If you hear the slightest sound, get behind the curtains as quickly as you can, and keep still.
Very well. Not a sound just now.
He likes his food, does the master?
Never gets up from table before 9, I'm told.
Not quite 8:30. You think you can do it?
Fortunately, either Milverton's too mean to buy a more up-to-date safe, or he's becoming careless. One way or the other, he's left our task much easier. Not quite my fastest time, but a good attempt.
Letters! Look, bundles of them.
Possibly his whole hoard. Into the bag with them.
Are you going to take the lot?
I fancy we shall be doing a number of people a service. Wait.
Someone's coming. It's Milverton. Holmes, the safe door.
Leave it. Behind the curtain. Quickly.
You're late. I said 8:30.
I'm sorry, sir. I came as soon as I could get away.
Never mind, never mind. Let's hope you prove worth the waiting for, eh?
Yes, sir.
That countess must have been a hard mistress to you, I dare say.
Sir.
Well, then, here's your chance to get even with her, eh? Ay, bless me, girl. What are you shivering about? You'll probably be a rich woman in a minute or two. Come. Let's see that pretty face under the veil, eh?
I'm all right, sir.
Oh, very well, then. Let's get to business. I understand you've got 5 letters written by the Countess d'Albert, which you think will interest me.
Yes.
You want to sell them? I want to buy them. So far, so good. All there is to do is to fix the price.
That is all.
Of course, I shall have to inspect the letters first. You have them there.
Yes.
And I may as well inspect you at the same time. Yes, I fancy you are a pretty little thing under all this. Great heavens. You.
Then you remember me, Milverton.
But of course, dear lady. Forgive me. It was some months ago, and in that veil, I confess...
You have rather special reasons for remembering me.
A modest financial transaction, purely in the way of business.
Modest, did you say?
Oh, come now, Matt. I ask you, why was I driven to such extremities in your case? By your own obduracy. I assure you I did my very best to accommodate you. But every man must, in the end, conduct his business how he can.
Business?
I put my price well within your means. By turning your diamonds into paste, you could have met it easily. But no, you would be obstinate. You would not pay.
You killed my husband by sending those letters to him.
I killed?
Oh, I admit I was not fit to lace his boots for him. All the same, I humbled myself before you. I begged and prayed for your mercy. You laughed in my face, just as you are trying to laugh now. But I am going to kill you.
Dear lady, that revolver. Do be careful, I beg you.
Charles Augustus Milverton, what have you to say to me now?
Say? Well, only that if I were to raise my voice, my servants would be here within a moment. I could have you arrested for breaking into my house with a weapon, but, oh, never fear. I will make allowance for your natural anger. Leave the house at once, and nothing more will be said.
Oh, no, Milverton. It will not be so easy as that. I came here to make sure that you will ruin no more lives as you ruined mine. I came to free the world of a poisonous thing.
No.
Yes, Milverton!
Great heavens! Who was she? Should I have grabbed her, Holmes?
Let her go. Quickly, Watson. The rest of the letters. We haven't a moment to lose.
Holmes? Holmes, someone's coming. The French window. As fast as you can, not without you.
That's almost all. Hurry, Watson.
Right. Across the lawn. This way.
Make for the garden wall. Action over.
Hey, you! Watch out! Someone's coming across the lawn! Go on, man! Get over! Stop, you! Yeah, I've got you! Oh, no, you haven't! Oh, I'm sorry. That's fixed him. Now, go on right, Holmes. I'm coming!
Mr. Holmes? Dr. Watson?
Inspector Lestrade, good morning.
Caught you at last. Just missed you at Baker Street. But Mrs. Hudson said you'd gone for a stroll down Regent Street.
Quite correctly, as you see, Lestrade. But what brings you after us?
You're very busy, Mr. Holmes.
Not exactly. Is Scotland Yard in difficulties again?
Well, I just thought if you had nothing particular on hand, you might care to assist us. Remarkable business last night at Hampstead.
Dear me, what was it?
Murder. Fellow by the name of Milverton.
Who? What, the murderer?
No. He was the one done in.
Oh.
Mind you, we've had our eye on him for some time. Suspected of blackmailing.
Really?
Yes. Well, he was shot dead last night at his house. Safe rifled.
Ah, a burglar, you think?
I reckon so. Some banknotes left there untouched and a desk drawer full of them now. You asked me, someone was after those papers of his. Couple of gents of position, most likely.
Oh, then it was murderers in the plural.
Definitely. The first was a bit too active, but over the garden wall as quick as you say knife. The second wasn't so quick off the mark.
No?
A bit of a struggle with the garden before it got clear.
Any description of this second man?
Middle size, strongly built, square jaw, thick neck, moustache.
Rather vague. Why, it might be a description of Dr. Watson. You see every sign of guilt, I'm afraid.
Hell, now, that'd be a thing, Doctor, eh?
So Milverton's dead, Lestrade. I knew something of him. One of the most dangerous men in London, I often thought.
You'll help us investigate it, Mr. Holmes?
You know, it is my view that there are certain crimes which the law cannot touch, and which, therefore, justify a measure of private revenge.
Yes, but murder...
You're quite right, of course. Murder must be punished, but I have made up my mind, Lestrade. For once, my sympathies are with the criminals rather than with the victim. No, I will not handle the case.
Well, you disappoint me, Mr. Holmes. I should have thought this was just the sort of thing would have interested you.
Oh, it did. Does. I can see, however, that as usual your superlative instincts are leading you precisely on the track of the two men you want.
Well.
You'll distinguish yourself in your usual way without help from me.
Ah, yes, it's very good of you to say that, Mr. Holmes. Still, I can flatter myself, you're right. We have their descriptions. We have their footprints in the garden. If they were to walk past us here now, I reckon I'd recognise them quick enough.
Capital.
Well, I'd better be getting on to the yard. Nippy this morning, quite a frost last night.
Yeah, there was.
Soon be Christmas. Good day to you, gentlemen.
Good day.
Good day, Lestrade.
Oh,
My dear Watson.
Oh, you sailed pretty close to the wind, didn't you?
No danger at all. Something tells me there's going to be another unclosed file lying on Lestrade's desk for a long time to come.
I hope you're right.
Meanwhile, let us resume our stroll. But here we are at our destination already.
The photographers? What for, Holmes?
The contemplation of nature's skillful handiwork. Look there, in the window. The picture down at the right.
Hmm? Holmes! It is she from last night.
I thought at the time I'd seen her somewhere recently. Only at breakfast this morning I recalled this shop window. And to think, Watson, that Lestrade stood just there with all three persons involved within his sight. I fear I shall never have the satisfaction of telling him.
Look, Holmes. It's got her title printed underneath. Great heavens! She's a...
No, my dear Watson. Don't speak it. Now that I've satisfied my curiosity, let us endeavour to put the noble lady's name out of our minds by talking of other things, while we resume our walk in this delightful winter sunshine.